So, a fresh character ID list just surfaced, and if even half of it holds, the next few patches are not a calm road, they are a gauntlet. Names you have been waiting for, names you thought were far away, and even a couple of surprises are all suddenly in play. So in this video, we are going to lay out everything that changed, what stayed the same, and what you can honestly expect from version 6.0 Phase 2 all the way to 6.7. Let us anchor ourselves in the present so we do not get lost. Version 6.0 Phase 1 is live, which means you already know that banner. What matters for this roadmap is Phase 2. The plan for Phase 2 is Flynn's and Yelan as the 5-star picks, with Aino, Dori, and Sucrose as the 4-star support lineup. Now let us talk about the storm that is building right after. Version 6.1 is where we got first accurate leaks. These banners are being circulated from HomDGCat, one of the most reliable leakers in the scene. Still, say it with me, leaks are not confirmation. With that said, the names are big. Arlecchino, Nefer, Furina, Zhangli. The 4-star pool mentioned alongside them includes Lanyan, Yunjin, and Rosaria as reruns. Phase order is not locked, but a reasonable guess is simple. New 5 stars almost always debut in Phase 1, so Nefer likely opens the patch. And I do not think the team will put 2 Archons in the same half, which makes Furina or Zhangli the more likely partner for Phase 1. My personal read leans to Furina next to Nefer, while Arlecchino and Zhangli anchor Phase 2, partly because Zhangli plays extra well next to Arlecchino's aggressive style. Please treat that as a working theory, not a promise. Moving to version 6.2, we have Duran as the headliner. The leaks describe Duran as a pyro sub-damage dealer with a real ability to support, possibly taking the slot that Xiangling or Bennett used to fill in older teams. If that holds, he might push some of your old favorites back into relevance by supercharging them without demanding the new lunar ecosystem. That is exciting, because it means you will not have to rebuild every team from scratch. Alongside Duran, Jahoda appears as a new Anemo 4-star. Anemo 4 stars often end up as glue units that bring grouping, resistance shred, or battery value, so keep an eye on her kit. On the rerun side for that patch, an Albedo rerun would make strong story sense because of his lore connection to Duran. There is also talk around Escoffier or Hu Tao showing up. Version 6.3 is where the Nod Cry Archon moment happens. Columbina's debut is expected here. She acts as the Archon of Nodcry and is described as a very strong Hydro main damage dealer with a haunting, elegant style. Alongside her, 2 characters from Liyue join the patch, 1 5-star and 1 4-star, though their names are still not pinned down. There was also talk of the White Horse Fairy debuting here in older chatter, but she does not show in the new ID list that is being shared, which is odd. A Skirk rerun is a fair bet in this window, especially if Escoffier reruns earlier in 6.2. Version 6.4 is where the list gets strange and raises eyebrows. One leaker suggests Varka shifts forward to 6.4 instead of later. On top of that, the same chatter says Varka would move into the standard Wish banner after 6.5. If that is true, it lowers expectations of peak meta dominance, because standard pool units typically land a touch softer so they can live in the permanent roster without breaking balance. It would still be Varka, still cool, still powerful, just not the unstoppable monster some people imagined. An Anefa rerun feels possible in this window, and there is even a rumor of a Fontaine Chronicled Wish showing up, which would make sense after we saw Liyue, Inazuma, and Sumeru Chronicled Wishes arrive in such quick order. If Fontaine gets one here, prepare your heart for more temptation. Version 6.5 is also weird on the list. Nicole, who was expected in 6.6 in older schedules, is moving forward in some whispers, but she does not appear in the ID list for some reason. I still think she will be playable, but the lack of a clear slot means we should watch official news carefully. Rerun guesses here include Mvuika and Xiannan. Version 6.6 is where things get wild and a little sad. Alice was supposedly moved forward to this patch, but the same leaker who said Varka becomes standard is also saying Alice will not be playable at all during the 6.x cycle in Nodcry. That is a gut punch for people who have waited a long time. I want to stress that this is not confirmed. It is a leak and it can be wrong, but you should be emotionally ready for more Alice stories without playable Alice. If that happens, other reruns could fill the gap, like a Flynn's rerun if he becomes a long-term favorite, or classic staples like Ayaka or Kazuha to keep the schedule balanced. Version 6.7 is the final surprise the list throws at us. A character many were sure would not be playable in Nodcry appears to steal Alice's spot here, Sandrone. Yes, that's Sandrone. Earlier talk said she would not be playable, but the new ID list mentions her, and the slot lines up. Alongside her, a Columbina rerun is very likely because she acts like an Archon, and Archons typically rerun 3 to 4 patches after debut. That cycle keeps players who skipped the first banner from being locked out for too long, and it keeps the region's core kit available as events continue. There are also 2 new names on the list worth mentioning, Linnea and Aluga. We do not have placements for them yet, but their presence tells you the bench is deeper than the headline names. They might be folded into other patches, they might be story faces who later get playables, or they might be surprises saved for later. For now, put a pin in them. Now, before anyone crashes out about characters not showing in the list, let me cool the temperature. The character ID list still has gaps. Nicole could easily slide into one of those. Alice could still appear later as a playable. For example, there are 2 unknown slots between Columbina and Varka, and 4 more unknowns between Varka and Sandrone. We get 17 characters per year, not all of them 5 stars, and when you map that to the remaining versions in Nodcry, there is still room for the faces everyone is waiting for. Lists change. Internal schedules change. Do not turn leaks into heartbreak. Use them to shape a plan and then stay flexible. As always, all of this is speculation and early leaks. I am not a dev, I am not your wallet, and I do not want to be a regret. Pull who you like. If a character's animation makes you smile or their voice line gives you goosebumps, that is worth more than a tier label. I will keep watching the phase orders and the official reveals, and I will update the roadmap as soon as the picture gets clearer. Before we wrap, I want to hear from you. Which name in this list changed your plan today? Are you saving for Nefer? Are you holding for Arlecchino? Did the idea of a Zhongli rerun next to a new carry make you rethink your comfort picks? And who did you grab in 6.0 Phase 1 while we have Flynn's and Yelan on the next stage? Drop your polls and your plans in the comments. I try to read them all, and your ideas often help other players make better choices. If this helped you see the road from 6.0 Phase 2 through 6.7 without getting lost, tap like so more travelers can find it, and consider subscribing so you do not miss the next update. We are inches away from 14,000, and I am grateful for every single one of you spending time here. See you under the moonlight of Nodcry, and may your next gold be the one you wanted.